Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome back, welcome if you're new. My name is Brittany, and in today's video I wanted to do my February bullet journal setup with you. And when I set up my January bullet journal spreads with you, I didn't have a lot of like my 2024 yearly stuff set up in the beginning. So I don't think I got to show you guys what my themes for quarters 1 and 2 are going to be. So I thought I would do that here. I know I have a community question about it, but this is like a brief sketch of what they are going to be, if you guys are interested in that. And then of course we have this month, January. I did the countdown to midnight with a clock and my 2024 word on the opposite. And what I did to save some time is I just went through the month of February and I penciled it in, rough sketched it, so you can see what each page or spread is going to look like before I start penciling or penning it in, just to give you guys an idea. And make sure I have everything I need here. I do, I think. Lots of Tombow dual tip markers. I have my stamps, my scissors. I think we're in good shape. All right. So for February, I wanted to do a messy heart theme, and I decided to do a couple quotes throughout, but I have this huge quote over here that's probably going to take me a while to pen in, but the meaning behind the quote is significant. It is from the movie Leap Year, which came out in 2010. And February is always a really special month for my husband and I because he asked me to marry him on February 2nd, Groundhog's Day. So I always enjoy setting up my February spreads. They're always kind of romantic, or they have, I put something in them that, you know, connects back to us. So I'm just going to get started on this. And then because the pencil was already on there, I will go back in later and erase all that. So let's get started. Okay, so we've got that pinned in. I made a little error here. This is actually supposed to be couldn't, but because of the pen and everything, I thought it would be too difficult to correct that, so I replaced couldn't with cannot. And down here I have a little sketch of rings. I'm not going to pin that in because I'm actually going to put a photograph of my husband and I's wedding bands there. But that's like a little reminder for me. All right, moving on to February. I don't know if I want to do this in pink. I think I want this to be mostly black and white. So I'm going to go in with a finer pen than what I used on the opposite, which was a Funesque pen. I'm going to use one of the Micron pens to go over my pencil marks for February. Alright, and I had put in the center marks to help guide me for that. So I'll just take those out and then I'll erase my pencil February. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do for the heart around February is make it a little messy. So I'm just going to not really stick to the line too much. I'm going to make it wavy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and over this line to give it an even more messy look. I mean, really go out of the line here. Maybe I'll do one more that's a little bit more crazy and wild. Okay. And then what I think I'm going to do is take some of my pink tools that I have here and just do little hearts here and there. Just a couple of each shade of pink. And maybe some tilted and not all going the same direction. And if you would like to know which markers I'm using, Tombow Dual Tip, I will pull this out for you. Those are the numbers that I'm going to be working with. And then I just did like a little sample strike next to it so that you could see the shade. I think some small red ones would be cute. And then I'm going to do some falling hearts. Excuse me. And I'm just going to have them come all the way from the top. And then very messy hearts here and there on those. And these I'm bringing down at different lengths. And I'm putting different quantities of hearts on each. Some I'm making more round than others, and others I'm making kind of pointy or lopsided. You just want to give that messy appearance. Alright, so we'll clean that up with our eraser. Let's see how that looks. So far pretty good. We'll go in and we'll erase this heart as well. Of course you can't really see that line very much because of the different pen lines, but we'll erase it all the same. There we go. And then I think I'm going to use my gel pen to do some of those hearts. Okay. And while that dries, I'm going to come down here to the bottom and do some roses coming up. Excuse me. Sorry for the traffic, guys. It's been really busy around here today. To go over the stem, I'm just using a gel pen. Just very messily putting some leaves here and there. Okay, and then I think I'll take this zebra pen and do some of the roses with that. Have a lighter one as well. I think that looks nice. Of course, we've got to have a red one. We'll do a really dark one here. And then we'll go in with a light pink for that one. Okay, and then to add the detail to the flowers, I'm just going to go in with the pen, Micron pen again, and go over the pencil lines. I can't believe January is almost over. I feel like we just did the January setup. It's kind of wild. And I feel like we just like welcomed in 2024. Where is the time going? It's wild. It only goes faster as you get older. Okay, so then what I want to do is, like I did for the January spread, I want to cut out or cut around my main part to give a Dutch door feel. So I'm just going to go one over from the middle of the heart, and then I'm going to try to go one around the heart, one block out. See how well I can do this. I might have to go this way. I'll turn it around a little bit here. That looks good. And I'll just come up and around. That is my dog snoring. Yes, he is passed out. He's kind of tired. Making sure I cut the right one. Okay. And then just turn it and cut that straight one. Alright, and there we have our opening Dutch door spread. It's pretty good. Alright, moving on. Our next spread is going to be movies and music, and I think I'm going to do these in different colors. So for movies, I think I'm going to do red, with a gray highlight underneath, and then I think I'm going to do pink for music. With a gray underline. Then I'll just erase those pencil marks. make sure I have the right stamp. This is for movies. And we'll just go about every 2 blocks. We actually didn't get to see that many movies this month, January. Hopefully we'll get caught up next month. January was just really busy. It flew by. Move these aside here. Okay, this one is for music. I'll test that off to the side. And then same thing. I'm just going to do about every 2 blocks. I think I'm off somehow. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just looking at it crooked. Okay, and then down here in the bottom, I'm going to put in with that Micron a small calendar. Okay, we've got our calendar in there, including our extra day because it's a leap year. Excuse me. So here we have our Dutch door, our calendar, our quote, movies and music. And now we're going to get into the habit tracker and the weekly spreads. So for my habit tracker, I am noticing that I'm not doing select things that I want to track either at all or not often. So I've really cut it back this month for February to 6 items to measure. And we'll see how that goes. I'm a little surprised that I'm not keeping up with that more. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'm just going to do habit in this Dusty Rose Pink. Excuse me. My throat, I'm telling you. It's almost better, but not all the way. And then in tracker, I'm going to do in red. Okay, and I think I will do another gray highlight under it. Just go in and erase that real quick. Then I'd like a light pink to do all my little habits that I'm going to track. Here we go. And I think I'll do a red border for the calendar. This way it is opposites. Just like our title or our heading. Pink, red, pink, red. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with my habits lately. They're just getting away from me, I guess. I've been doing really good with my journaling though. I've been making sure that I'm doing that every day. So that's a positive. Okay, now that I have all my little calendars drawn, I'm going to go in with that Micron and do my days of the week. For each of those calendars. Okay. Alright, sorry about that. Snoopy got woke up. We had some vehicle stop outside. Alright, I finished putting in the calendar days of the weeks. And I'm just going to erase my pencil real quick before we go into... Alright, that time Snoopy got alarmed by the husband coming home early. So let's get back to this and try to get it done. Keep erasing. I think that looks pretty good. So for the weeklies, I decided to do the same type of pattern for each day, only I did something different for the center. And you'll see as we get into them. But they're going to be virtually the same except for the decoration. So I'm going to get to lining these. Alright, so I got all the lines done for the days, and then I just did a number 5 micron outline around all the hearts and filled them in with different shades from the Tombow markers, and there's the numbers that I'm working with. So let's keep going to our next weekly spread. And again, I'm going to keep with the same theme where I have the drop lines, only the center design is changing and then it has a quote. So I'm going to get started on that. Alright, so I got all the days of the weeks lined in, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with a finer micron pen. I have it here somewhere. There it is. And I'm going to go over this quote. I'm going to be very careful because it just barely fits in this box. So I'm going to see if I can kind of shrink it down a little bit. Alright, I was able to shrink it down so that it'll fit better. And it says, "Whatever happens tomorrow or for the rest of my life, I'm happy now because I love you." And that is a quote from the movie Groundhog Day, which came out in 1993. One of my favorite movies because, as I mentioned earlier, my husband proposed to me on Groundhog's Day. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to work pinning in that arrow, and it's supposed to be Cupid's golden arrow of love. So I think I'm going to use one of my Uniball Signal gold gel pens to pin that in, and hopefully I can put a little bit of detail on it, but I might have to outline it in black. We'll see. So I'm going to get started on that. Alright, so I have finished filling in Cupid's golden arrow of love. I'm going to let this pen dry because it does smear very easily if it's not all the way dry. So we're just going to wave these around a little bit and I'll just test a little bit of it here with the eraser and see if it smears. No? Okay, so maybe it's dry then. But for the feather on the end, what I did was I took that number 1 micron pen, excuse me, and I just tried to do some line work, excuse me, to define the feather. So for the next weekly spread, the center decoration is postage stamps for love letters. And the quote that I'm putting, excuse me, for this one is from the wedding date. And I will pin that in using the fine micron, the number 1. I'll do that first. And it is, excuse me, I think I'd miss you even if we never met. And I thought that that was a nice little quote. fitting, goes with Valentine's. It's romantic, sweet, and it kind of goes in with love letters. So just finish pinning this in, and then I'm going to get to work on pinning in the days of the weeks and doing the outline of the stamps. And then I don't know if I'm going to decorate the stamps on camera, just because I don't know what I want to put in each of them yet. So I might do that off camera, but at least you guys can see what this week's spread decoration is. And that film came out in 2005. And then I'm going to continue doing the outline with the number 5 micron. Alright, so I've penned in each day, the quote, and the outline of the stamps. I think I'm not going to decorate them though because of time's sake for the video. So the following week's spread is going to be chocolate covered strawberries for the center decoration, and the quote is from Pride and Prejudice and the 2005 film. I believe that's when it came out. It's a pretty popular quote. But I will pen it in and then read it for you. And this one fits pretty nicely in this box. I always liked when this was being read or spoke, because it's as if he's stuttering, but I think it's just him, the actor, having difficulty confessing his feelings. Okay. And it is, "You have bewitched me, body and soul, and I love you," from Pride and Prejudice to 2005. Now, again, I'm going to just keep repeating what I've been doing with the previous weeks, doing the outline, and then I'll go in and decorate our center decorations of chocolate covered strawberries. So I'm going to get started on that. Alright, so I finished lining all of my days of this week, and I went ahead and lined the center decoration of our chocolate covered strawberries and erased my pencil marks. So now what I'm going to do with you guys is I'm going to go through and decorate them. I have 2 different greens here that I'm going to use for the little stems of the strawberries and the little leaves. I guess I didn't draw stems on them, but this will be fine. And yes, my dog is snoring again. He goes from barking like crazy to snoring, so there you have it. Alright, do a few more. Actually, I might just do this one and then I'll switch over to the other green. I decided to go ahead and outline them in black just because I thought it would be easier to erase the pencil. In my experience, when you go over pencil with this Tombow dual tip brush pens, it does erase, but for certain colors you gotta really really press hard, and then it kind of takes up your paper a little bit and it's a whole thing. So I just thought, well, I'll just outline what I drew with the Micron and then go in with the Tombow. I think I'm going to do, excuse me, the rest of these in this color, just because it pops and I like it. Alright. Then the strawberries, I'm going to do different reds, but the reds that I picked out are all kind of similar. So I'm not real sure how that's going to translate on the page, but we will see. And I'm just being messy with this. Last one, guys. Snoopy, he's sound asleep. I love that he snores. I think it's so cute. Okay, now for the reds, for the strawberries, I'm going to reference my sheet here, my little cheat sheet. And I'm going to stay within these three here. So the 856, well, first of all, I take that back. I want to put the chocolate on first with the 947. And then we'll go in and we'll do the red. And to do this, I'm just doing like a wavy line, not all the way at the top of the strawberry, but like a 1/4 inch down, maybe 1/2 inch on some. I'll go light on some of them and then darker on others to give the impression of milk chocolate versus dark chocolate. And to do that, I'll just go over and over and over my same lines with this same color to get that darker. It's not a different brown, it's just me going over it multiple times. Alright, so I went ahead and I finished up the rest of them with the chocolate, and then now I'm going to go in with those reds and do what's remaining of the strawberries, which really isn't that much, but it'll be enough that you'll be able to tell that they are strawberries. I think I'm going to do all the little ones this shade of red. Then I'm going to go in with that Micron pen and the number 5 one, and I'm going to do seeds on the strawberries, and then I'm going to decorate some of the chocolate with gel pens for like some icing drizzled. So I'll keep working on this. I love when these markers are newer, like this is a newer one, because they're so smooth. They're just filled with the ink. It's nice. I really like it. Really, really like it. I bought one of these. It was a red too. Fresh from the store, and I got home and was working on it, working on a spread with it, and it was so dried out. I was like, how did you get away with selling this? Like, this has clearly been the test pen since you've carried the pen. But I just got a little container of water and soaked this part, the brush part of it, in that for only like, I don't know, 10-15 seconds, and it kind of brought it back to life. But it doesn't stay like that. I have to do it every time I use that one. So I actually went back and I just bought another one of that color. I still have the one that's kind of dried out because the pen tip does have what seems like more ink than the brush tip. So I will just use it as a liner. And that's fine. I'm fine with that. Reds aren't usually a color that I work a lot with anyways, so I don't see myself grabbing for it that often that it would be an issue like to revive it with water. So I'm not mad about it. Normally I order them online, but that one I got from the store, and yeah, it was quite used up. Alright, going in with the number 5 to do our seeds. Just because I think they'll show up better than the number 1 micron pen. It's a little bit thicker of a tip. And I'm just going to kind of scatter them in the red part of our strawberries. I think that looks pretty good. And then I think I'm going to do a pink gel pen and a white gel pen for the icing. I won't do it on all of them, but just a couple. And I'm just going to do a wavy line to make it look like icing was drizzled over it. I might actually have to go over this twice because it's not very visible on top of the brown that I used for the chocolate. Yeah, it looks like the second round is much more visible, so you might have to go over it twice. Alright, I think I'll do one over here that's pink, and then I will switch over to the white. And for that I'm going to use the Uniball Signo pen. Maybe. There we go. It's going to need 2 layers as well, it looks like. Then I'll just do one more. And the other ones I will leave plain. Alright, so there is that spread. We're almost done. So the next week spread, I think that's dry. Yeah, it's pretty good. Is going to be the last 4 days of the month, keeping with the same shape for the days. And then I'm doing my doodle a day at the bottom here, and I'm just going to outline the 4x4 dot grid boxes for my doodles to go in. And then for my center line I did a quote with the same decoration that we did. Where is there a start at? Here with the hanging hearts is what is going to go here hanging off the quote. So I'm going to take that number 5 and get started on lining this. Alright, so I got the days lined, pinned in. Now I'm just working on those 4x4 dot grid boxes that my doodle a days are going to go in. If you watched my January setup, I put these at the bottom of each of my dailies, and it's worked out pretty nicely, but you still don't get to see the whole month together, which when I first started to talk about doing this potentially in my bullet journal, I said that that was something that I was interested in, seeing them all next to each other. So I thought for February I would try this. And it just happened to work out, even with the extra day for the leap year, that there was enough room at the bottom of these 2 pages for me to put in the boxes for Doodle a Day. So I'm not sure what I'm going to draw in my bullet journal for Doodle a Day. For January, I ended up doing just random shapes. There's some florals, there's some line work, some shapes, things like that. But for February, I kind of wanted to do different types of heart patterns. And I'm also doing Doodle a Day in my Hobonichi Techo, but I'm also doing it in my Hobonichi Weeks. So I'm doing a lot of doodles a day. And I don't mind because, you know, doing them in a 4x4 block, which is kind of the same size of a box that you're working in with the Hobonichi Techo and Weeks, it takes seconds for you to create something. And there's not that much detail that goes into them. So I don't mind that I'm doing it across 3 different journals. I actually have space in another one of my journals that I could do it in that as well. But just getting used to doing Doodle a Day, I think that what I'm doing right now is enough. But as the year goes on, I might increase that, especially as my artistic style continues to grow and my confidence with doodling gets increased. But for February, I definitely want to do heart patterns. And what I was thinking about doing is, because these are so small, is I was thinking about scanning them when I get it done for an Instagram post, or for putting them in one of my software that I have, whether it's Photoshop or my Silhouette Portrait, and taking each one of these apart, kind of like I did with Vlogmas to make the washi tape, and turn them into stickers, which I could then use for like pen pal letters or decorations in my journals, like if I really like one of my doodles. So I haven't decided yet, but there's a lot of options. I just went offline a little bit, so I'm going in with this white Uniball gel pen to just kind of clean it up. There we go. Then I'll go back to finishing lining them. And I don't use a ruler. You definitely could use a ruler. To me, that takes more time than I'm willing to spend because I have a hard enough time seeing these little dots as it is, let alone when you got a ruler butted up against them. And then even if I'm using my cork ruler, I feel like it slips on this type of paper. So I just kind of stay away from the rulers and do my best. Besides, I like when things are messy, and because my February theme is messy hearts, I'm totally fine with these boxes being messy. They can be a little quirky, they can even be on a slant, I don't mind. So I'm going to keep working on these, and then I'm going to work on that center decoration. Alright, and now I'm going in and decorating that center line to match our opening spread with the hanging hearts. I'm not going to color in all of the hearts, just like I didn't color them all in for our opener. I'm just going to put some pink gel pen hearts here and there. And again, these can be as messy or as neat as you want them, if you're deciding to do what I'm doing. So I'll just put some pink here and there. No rhyme or reason, just picking a couple. Alright, and then for the quote, I'm going to use that gold Uniball Signo pen to write it in. I'm not going to go in line with my pencil because it's kind of butted up against the left, so I'm going to write over top of it because I have this quote memorized. I'm sure a lot of ladies do out there from Twilight movie. So I'm going to just write over top of it to the right. And I'm using the gold glitter because Edward Cullen in the movie sparkles, even though he kind of sparkles silver. Thought, well, I do have silver, but I don't think it would show up very good, so I'm using gold. And it is, and so the lion fell in love with the lamb. And that is Twilight. 2008. Okay, so I'll let that dry for a little bit. This is my last weeklies. It's got my doodle of the day, my quote and center decoration, and for my final spread, because I've reduced down my bullet journal a lot using those other journaling systems this year, I just have the month and Polaroids left. So we'll test this. Still a little wet. Give it another minute. I guess I can hold it open and work on this side. So for the month and Polaroids, what I did was some candy hearts on the right and little Polaroids again on the left, which is what I did, I believe, for January. I drew little Polaroids. For the candy hearts, I'm doing a back shadow. And then I am writing, hug me, kiss me, love. Those are my little candy heart messages. Excuse me. And I'll just do them in black just because I don't have colored pens that have such a fine tip on them. And I really like this one. Okay, so I'll do these Polaroids over here and then we will be done. Then for month and Polaroids, I'm going to write that in pink. Alright, so let's do a flip through real quick. We have our opening quote, our Dutch door, our little calendar, movies, music. We have our habit tracker, our hearts, weekly start, Cupid's love arrow, stamps that I'm going to decorate later, chocolate covered strawberries, dangling hearts, and then month and Polaroids. That's what I have for you today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this opener to February. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.